Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching the Today I Found Out YouTube channel, and in the video today we're looking at where the saying "I'll eat my hat" comes from. I'll eat my hat is an utterance commonly used when a person is absolutely certain that something will not happen. But where does this unusual phrase originate, and have there ever been any recorded instances of people actually eating their hats after being proven wrong? According to the venerable Oxford English Dictionary, the earliest known example of the phrase comes from the 1762 book Homer Travesty by Thomas Bridges. The book is a parody of the more famous Iliad and contains a line that reads, "For though we tumble down the wall and fire upon their rotten boats and all, I'll eat my hat if Jove don't drop us or play some queer rogue's trick to stop us." While this is the first known written example of the phrase "I'll eat my hat" as we understand its meaning today, Bridges isn't believed to have coined the phrase as much as he streamlined a now defunct utterance which said, "I'll eat old Rowley's hat," which essentially had the same meaning. As for who old Rowley was, this may be referring to King Charles II, who was called such owing to his reputation with women, combined with the fact that Old Rowley was the nickname of one of the king's prized stallions. This is referenced about a century after Charles II's death in the Biographical History of England from 1775. It reads, "In some of the state poems, Charles II is ridiculed under the nickname of Old Rowley, which was an ill-favoured stallion kept in the mews that was remarkable for getting fine colts. Mrs. Holford, a young lady much admired by Charles, was sitting in her apartment and singing a satirical ballad upon Old Rowley the king when he knocked at her door. Upon asking who was there, he, with his usual good humour, replied, 'Old Rowley himself, madam.'" As for why the saying specifically mentioned the king's hat instead of, say, his shoes or his underwear, this is speculated to be due to the fact that the king had a fondness for fabulously flamboyant hats, which would be exceptionally difficult, if not impossible, for a person to eat. Incidentally, a similarly foppish fashion trend in the form of giant macaroni wigs is also why Yankee Doodle stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni. "I'll eat my hat" gained widespread acceptance about 3/4 of a century later thanks to the 1837 novel written by Charles Dickens, The Pickwick Papers, in which we have the line, "If I knew as little of life as that, I'd eat my hat and swallow the buckle whole." This is uttered by a satellite character to mock the main character is contemplating out loud about breaking a deal to avoid moving into a subpar house. Given how long this expression has been around, this may leave you wondering if anyone has ever actually literally eaten their hat owing to uttering the expression and subsequently being proven wrong. The answer is yes. In fact, in the last few years alone, there have been several documented instances of this occurring. For example, in 2014, a user on Reddit predicted that the value of one Bitcoin would never again fall below $1,000, adding that they'd eat their hat if it ever did. When the value of the currency did fall below that mark, the user, amusingly identified as Hat Eater, uploaded a video of themselves eating an entire cotton beanie on a sandwich. This is in keeping with the culture of Reddit, which particularly praises individuals who follow through on such ridiculous boasts, a more extreme example of which can be found in the form of the guy who filmed himself eating a bull penis after boasting that he'd eat a dick if his post was liked enough. And if you're looking for another video about dicks, well, you can check out our video on why dick is short for Richard. And then another example would be the Atlanta Falcons fan who filmed himself eating one of the team's hats after deciding that the Falcons couldn't lose to the Panthers in 2015, and if they did, he'd eat his hat. When they did indeed lose, true to his word, he ate the hat with a Wendy's chicken sandwich. And then next up we have British politician Lord Paddy Ashdown, who publicly declared that he'd eat his own hat if the exit polls for a British election were correct. When they were, Ashdown got out of the whole thing while appearing to keep his word by eating a chocolate cake shaped like a hat during an interview. During the same interview, another MP who'd made a similar claim, only this time promising to eat his kilt, ate a cake shaped like a kilt. In both cases, in true political form, the individuals actually broke their word but attempted to make it appear as if they did not. And now for a bonus fact. Another example of someone following through on the promise of eating a clothing item, though this time not a hat, is that of famed director Werner Herzog when he claimed that if Errol Morris ever finished the film Heaven's Gate, a now legendary box office bomb, he'd eat his shoes. Herzog, true to his word, ate his shoes after hiring a professional chef to prepare them with garlic and various herbs at the premiere of the film. You can actually see footage of this happening in an aptly titled documentary, Werner Herzog Eats His Shoe. So I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button below and don't forget to subscribe for brand new videos just like this every day of the week, Monday through Sunday. And if you're looking for something else to read in this vein, I'd recommend checking out Charles Dickens's biography. It's called Charles Dickens, A Life Aptly, and we'll link to that in the description below. Also, I'd like to thank our patrons on Patreon. If you're interested in supporting us with a small and totally voluntary monthly contribution, please do consider heading over to patreon.com/TodayIFoundOut. And well, as always, thank you for watching.